Hello everyone and welcome to Blog and Everything and welcome back to the channel and welcome to a very positive match review because FC Barcelona did just win by 6 goals to 1 against Olympiakos. It wasn't always smooth sailing. I should probably point that out. There was a bit of a rough patch, the first 10 to 15 minutes after halftime, it wasn't too good for Barca because Olympiacos did pull one back, via a dodgy penalty, which honestly, I don't know what Eric Garcia was thinking there. But, they went down to 10 men just shortly after that, which, in my opinion, made it less of a, could I say, beneficial exercise going into El Clasico because now you're more likely to just go into that match thinking that, you're on top of the world. You can score 6 goals at the drop of a dime when, you could have had more of a test, which this certainly was in the first half and, up until that red card because I was shocked to see Olympiakos under Mendilibar, who, if you're familiar with him, he's not the most, we could say, forward thinking of the coaches that we've seen in La Liga. Definitely tends to like his nice defensive stable structures, which I should say as well, for me it was a bit of a letdown that after going down to 10 men he didn't try to close things down a bit. He still kept pressing Barca aggressively, and you just kind of knew that it would only be a matter of time before his players tire and Barcelona start to get to see those openings. And once they saw those openings, well, you can see what happened. 6 goals scored in total, 4 after the red card. And I should say as well, congratulations to Fermin on getting that match ball, his first ever Champions League hat-trick, and of course a brace as well for Marcus Rashford, with Yamal as well chipping in with a penalty and an assist as well, I believe. And I should also point out that I was happy to see Rooney Bardghji get his first assist as well in the Champions League, especially after that, filthy elastico he pulled off on the defender. Anywho, like I said, it's unfortunate that there's not too many takeaways from this performance or from this result, just simply because, as I mentioned earlier, Barcelona here were, it kind of got easier for them once Olympiakos went down to 10 men. In fact, I'm saying got easier for them. It got real easy for them once Olympiakos went down to 10 men. So, we now just wait to see what will happen, I guess, in El Clasico. How many of the players that we saw starting today are going to start then? I don't think it's going to be that many. You do wonder if, Fermin probably is going to start, but definitely the likes of Joe Fernandez and Marcus Rashford are going to fall out of that starting 11. But you wonder, is that really going to happen? Because what exactly will Barcelona's shape look like, and who can Barcelona bring into that number 9 role? Because admittedly today, Rashford did play pretty well as the number 9, but we do know his best position is down that left wing. So, there's that question of, is he going to be as the number 9 or is he going to be the left winger? And of course, if he's the number 9, does that make Fermin the left winger rather than the number 10? Does that mean you have to now shuffle everything over? Fermin going to the left, Pedri coming on the number 10, and, maybe Casado coming into that midfield alongside Frankie? Well, those are all just, the different permutations for now. Despite having this limited squad, I would say that it was just a good amount of rotation that we saw this time around from Flick. A lot of players getting some minutes, Marc Bernal getting minutes. Like I said, Rooney Bardghji as well getting significant chunk of minutes. And these are guys who you do feel are going to be very important for Barcelona. If these guys can get up to speed, then maybe things might not be so disastrous come the second half of the season, because we have seen how Flick's preferred starting 11 right now, everyone is looking a bit leggy in some moments. And I was also shocked to see Pedri playing all of 80 minutes this time around. You'd have thought maybe that substitution could have been made much earlier, especially with all the kicks he was taking in the first half, which, by the way, I didn't mention that, but, Olympiakos were kicking Pedri quite a bit here. And if I'm not mistaken, the guy who was sent off fouled either Pedri or Fermin, both of whom got kicked quite a few times here in this game. So, you do sometimes wonder, like, could these players just not just tone it down a bit? We get it, you're not as good as the Barca players, so you have to, maybe kick them every now and then. But just tone it down a bit. You end up getting sent off, and once you are, you ruin the game for everyone. We don't get a good enough test before a Clasico. Your team gets, wiped off the face of the earth. And anyhow, the win was good for Barcelona because they're now back on track in the Champions League. Having, lost their last match against PSG, and this having been that much of, a big win, that's going to do them some favors, having that nice chunky goal difference, because not everybody is going to play opponents that are weak enough for you to score 6 goals past them, So that was definitely good from Barca. But aside from that, I don't really have that much else to add. Like I said, I would have wanted maybe to see a bit more from here, which could give me a few more clues about how Barcelona could survive El Clasico, because, Olympiakos, like I said earlier on, were pressing a decent amount, but once they went down to 10, which was like, I don't know, I guess 2/3 of this match, or something like maybe 2/5 of the match, they were playing down to 10 men, and even though they still tried to press, it's just, for a team like Barca, very easy to play through a 10-man press. So, yeah, hopefully, Barca can just, continue where they've stopped off in El Clasico. But, going to the Bernabeu with Real Madrid looking way more organized this season than they did last season, it's going to be a tough task. It's going to be a tall task, and I think we should just forget about everything we've seen here as we go into that match and just hope that, the likes of Lamine can keep just getting back up to speed. Anyhow, you let me know your thoughts on the match and what, everything that went down. I would appreciate that very much. But aside from that, I thank you all for tuning in. Do have a great day, and Forza Barca.